Hi, and welcome to this tutorial for the Character CD 3D template. We here at ViditBox would really like to thank you for buying this template or any other of our templates. Thank you so much for your support and comments. We really appreciate it. So let's get started here. The first thing I want to address is once you download the template, pretty much any template, you will get a missing font or missing file message. And let me just address the font issue first. All you have to do for this particular template, you just have to go to the help file that's attached to this template and go to the link under font and download the font, install it, and then you won't have any issues. Obviously, you don't have to use this font. This is just a font we decided to use. You can use any font you like, and you can definitely ignore that message. It doesn't really does anything. It doesn't really matter. But if you do want the font, just go to the help file and download the font. The missing files issue. Let me just explain to those of you who doesn't know how After Effects is kind of managing files. When you're working on your computer and you are working on a specific project, After Effects will remember your files from the you can see under file path here. It remembers your specific root, okay, and I'll show you. It's not just remembering like specific root. It's not just from drive C or drive D. It's like it remembers a specific route which you drawn out the file from. So in here I just have this simple PSD, and let me just grab this PSD just to demonstrate. Let me just take this PSD and cut it and paste it in the upper folder. So now when I come back to After Effects, I will have, that this file cannot be found. Okay, so just click OK, and to solve this, all you need to do is just right-click the file, okay, replace footage, and go to File, or the simple way is just hitting the keyboard shortcut Control H. Okay, and it will launch the Explorer automatically. And let me just go to this folder and select the file. Okay, you see this is the exact same name, exact same file. I can actually replace other files, this to another file so if I want, but in this particular case I want to attach the same file. So I'll just click Import, and you can see that it's good as new. It relinked the file. Everything is good. It updated the file path, and I'm ready to go. So one more trick here is let me just move that back to new. Okay, and then you see it gave me like the same message again. If you have a lot of missing files, like if After Effects, and this is not just for this particular project, if you have like a lot of missing files, one thing you can do, instead of like just going inside of the folders, if you have like a lot of folder structure, you go inside and try to find the missing files and all of that, and that takes time. All you need to do is go to the search bar and just type missing. Okay, I already have that. So missing, and then you can see After Effects hid the other folders and files that I had here, and he is not. After Effects will only show me missing files right now. So I can just go over all of those missing files and just hit Control H, replace or just go to right click, replace image and file, and just go and relink that file again. One more thing, let me just delete this because we don't need this anymore. One more thing, in some cases, because this is divided into folders, in some cases, After Effects, let's say, will tell you like, there are like 30 missing files, but when you go to, a specific folder, okay, even if you're doing this on missing, it doesn't matter. If you have those files in one particular folder, and you're trying to replace the footage here, After Effects might only connect the files in that specific folder. Okay, what you will have to do is go to each of the folders, and just you don't have to do this for any file inside of the folder. Just right click on one file, and it will connect all of the files inside of the folder. But that can happen. Okay, you will probably have to do this. There's really no avoiding this. Like most of the templates out there, you will download, you will probably have to do this. And yes, you will have to do this manually, but as I showed you, there are shortcuts to do this by typing missing. Okay, so it will filter out just the missing files you will have to connect, and there's just no go around this. You have to do this manually. But once you've done this, all you have to do is just save the file. You can save the file in whatever name you want, maybe Character City V1 or something like that. And then once you open that particular version, it will already connect, okay, all of your, it will already, sorry, not connect, remember that file path you defined for it. So you won't have to deal with this, in every time you open the template. You just have to, you really have to just do this once and get it over with. Okay, so this is what we're going to create. And before diving into that, I just want to cover some basic structure for this template. So you obviously have those folders which you went over and relinked the missing files. So obviously I don't really have to go over that, and it doesn't really matter. You don't have to touch those folders unless you really know what you're doing. If you know how to composite and stuff like that, if you know how to composite 3D renders, you can definitely just do your own with this. But the main compositions you will have to look at is those three. And let's start with the main color correction composition. So as this layer applies, as this composition applies, you can basically just color correct this character. So if we'll select the one of the controls, so we have one for the body and one for the hand, okay? And let's just go to the effect controllers. Okay, so you can see, let me just reset that. So you can see we can control the skin color. Okay, we can control the shirt color to whatever color we want. It's just hue and saturation, pants, and shoes. So we can control all of that, and we have this color control for the light. So the color control for the light is this. You see this kind of backlight or rim light. You can control the color for that, to set whatever mood you like. And what's great about this main color control comp is that you can go to the full body comp, and then you will see that, let me just fit this. So you can see that every change that we do in the main color composition will reflect itself in every composition. Okay, it will just reflect itself in any composition inside of that. So basically you just color corrected all of those animations. So let's talk about how we can control the color correction for an individual comp. So let's go inside this comp, And inside of this comp, you see you also have a color control layer. So if I'll try to actually change something in here, nothing will happen, okay? Because it's actually taking the colors, okay? It's still taking the colors from the main color correction comp, okay? So whatever I do here, it reflects here. But if I do have a situation where I want to only color correct this comp and leave the other comps to be color corrected by the main color correction comp, all I have to do is just uncheck this checkbox, and then you can see we got back to the default values, but now I can actually color control only this specific comp, okay? And you can see only the colors for this comp change, but the colors for the other comps are reflected to the main color corrected comp, okay? So let's go back here. So other controllers that we have inside of each individual comp, okay, in this I chose the iPad and board comp here just to show you because this is unique only for this comp, which you can actually switch between an iPad and a simple board. So you just have to switch that on and off to switch between a board and an iPad, okay, and also what you can do inside of the comps, okay, you don't have this option, okay, you don't have this option in the main color correction comps. You only have those options inside of the animation comps, okay. So I can actually can kind of tone down the backlight effect, okay, or I can switch it off completely, okay, and I can actually also control the opacity for the shadow, okay, if I don't want that. So let me just turn that back to 100. So if you do encounter in a situation where you want to only color correct a specific comp, again, this is how you do it. You just uncheck this checkbox and you can color correct this comp from inside and not from the main color correction composition. So I want to discuss frame rate. Let's say you have a specific situation where you are required to work in a specific frame rate, let's say 25 or 29. These 3D renders are rendered in 24 frames per second, okay? So if you are working on a 25 frame per second composition, you will have some issues, okay? So right now you can see I'm working on 25 frames per second, and let's click OK. So you can see right off the bat that we have this slippage issue, okay, that occurs from working that occurs from having a 24 frame per second composition inside of a 25 frame per second composition. So if I would change that to 24, you will see that now it's okay. Okay. I'm not going to go to technical details of why that it's happening, but just be aware that if you are, if you have a requirement from a client or whatever to work in a specific frame rate, and you bring a 24 frame per second frame rate composition into a different frame rate composition, you will have to do some tricks in order for this to work correctly. One trick you can do is actually just finish whatever you like to do inside of the comp here. Okay, and this is the I'm showing you the board and iPad comp because this is the only comp you will have to do this because you are adding you have a layer here to add graphics in. So as you saw that if I'm just go back to that. Yeah. Just set it to 25. Okay, so in order to fix that, you just have to, you have to complete whatever you want to do in terms of graphics and all. Actually, you don't have to, you don't have to re-render this all of the time. It doesn't really matter. You just have to do this for the final output. Just go inside the comp, hit Control M to add this to the render queue, render this comp individually, and then bring it back to your animation comp, and just switch it between, just turn this off and put the render layer above it, and then you won't have any issues with the slippage. But what also will happen is, let's say you're working on a higher frame rate, let's say you are working on a 29 frame per second. Okay, so that means that if you're working on 29 frames per second and you have a 24 frame per second, then you are essentially missing frames. Okay, so if you are missing frames, then you will have a jitter in the animation. Okay, in the playback, you will see that the animation is jittering. Okay, so that's a very simple solution. All you have to do is just go to, you click on the expand, or expand the in and out, and you just have to stretch this, go to the stretch value, and make the video you just render shorter. Okay, so you can try 90, you can try 80, whatever value works for you. Just try to preview it and see if it's not jittering, and if it's not jittering, that's great. So that's a solution for also the jittering, and also for the slippage that's going on here. So the first, and actually again, you only have to do this for the iPad comp. The other comps, because they are already rendered, all you have to do is just take the comp and set it to 80. Okay, if you're working on a higher frame rate, all you have to do is set that to 80 or 90, or whatever value that works best for you. So when first starting a project, keep that in mind, plan ahead. If you know that you have a different frame rate than 24 frames per second, just note that you have to counter that, okay, inside of those comps. And again, the only comp that you will have to pre-render, before you render your final movie, is the board or iPad comp, which contains basically, I can show you, which contains basically keyframes here, that if we kind of stretch them, kind of stretch the timing here, will have this slippage effect. Okay, so be in mind of that, plan ahead, and avoid all of those troubles. And and actually, like, a good tip before you even begin to work, just grab all of those comps before you bring them into your main animation comp, and just check that it's not jittering. Okay, just set this composition to the frame rate you want to work with, so 24, 29, 25, whatever. Just set this comp to the frame rate you want to work with. Try to preview one of them, and if you see there's jittering going on here, so just set the value to whatever value you think it's going to get rid of that jitter. So set this to all of them, and only after you set that up, start to bring it on to the composition you are working on. Because what will happen, let me just set that back. What will happen if you bring those comps, if you bring those comps as they are, what will happen if you forget this? This is actually a very crucial step, because if you forget this, what will happen is, let me just take all of those comps and set them to, let's say, 80. So now you can see they kind of align with each other. Okay, they kind of perfectly align with each other. But when I set this to 80, obviously, we shorten the animations. So what you will have to do then is just, you will have to move that back the compositions, to and adjust the timing, and that will just, if you have a big project, that will just take you a lot of time. So avoid that in advance, and again, this is a really crucial step to remember. And this applies not just to this project. In any project you have that you bring in a movie or something to have one frame rate to and you bring it into to a project for in a different frame rate, you have to kind of know that you will probably have jittering issues, and you will have to kind of counter for that. So keep that in mind, and again, plan ahead before you start doing something with this. Okay. If you are working on a non-English version of After Effects, you might expect to have some issues with expressions. And let me kind of shortly explain why that is. Well, when you create an expression in, let's say, the English version of After Effects, let's say you will add a slider control to your layer. So After Effects will actually recognize the name that's called slider control. But if you will try to open this project in the French version of After Effects, let's say, so After Effects will not recognize this as slider control, because in the French version of After Effects, it will say something different here. Okay, so After Effects says, hey, you wrote down like slider control, but I'm seeing something different in here, and I can't match the names between those. So I will just cancel out the expression here, and I will not let you use it. So just know that this is not actually something that's wrong in the project. It's about the language of After Effects you are using. And the solution for this right now is to just switch, if you can, to the English version of After Effects. But just so you know, we are working on making universal expressions. So in future updates, you will get that. And if you are working on a French version or any other version, it shouldn't create any problems for you. Because this template is rendered in 3K, you might expect to have slowdown while working, as 3K is 3000 by 3000 resolution, and you can imagine your system might have some difficulties to handle this large resolution. And let me kind of explain why we chose to do this in 3K and not 4K or 2K. We kind of tested this template with 4K on a slower machine, and we kind of saw that it doesn't handle 4K that well on slower machine. 4K is a pretty high resolution for slow computers to kind of handle with, and then we tried to do this with 2K, but 2K didn't really allow us to kind of zoom in here inside a character and kind of maintain this crisp and sharp look to it. So we kind of chose to split the difference, and we tested the 3K on a slower machine and saw that it is working. It is working pretty good. So there is a solution if it's working slowly for you. All you kind of have to do is go to the resolution or downsample factor and kind of lower it down to quarter, okay, and then you can see it kind of got pixelated, and you can basically, it will basically kind of render faster. But if you're working on a slower machine, you can actually go in here and go to custom, okay, and kind of set up the value that works best for you. So, full resolution is 1, half 2, third 3, and quarter 4. So you can kind of adjust it to whatever you like and whatever works best. You can just kind of test it out and see what works faster for you. So if you can see, if I'll put this, let's say, on 15 and 15. So right now you see the character got really pixelated, and it really lowered down the resolution. So basically, what After did is it kind of took the initial resolution I had and kind of divided that in the number I told it. So that's basically what it did. And this allows me to kind of render faster and work faster with this. So I can kind of, scrub faster and move through frames faster, and and actually, to view motion in general, like not just particularly for this template, to actually just only view motion, you really don't have to work on full quality. There's no reason to do that unless you want to kind of go inside and kind of refine the smaller details of things. And if you have like text or other graphics in here, you can either, if it's taking too much time, you can just lay down the basic animation you want to do, and then kind of maybe hide this and kind of render only the animation separately from this, and then when you want to render the final movie, you just unhide them and go to the render queue and render, and then it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously, rendering time can change from computer to computer, and that can take from 1 hour to 10 hours, depends on your computer. Okay, so if it's going slow for you, know that you are not the only one that it's going slow for you. I mean, it's pretty common. These projects, those heavy projects, they tend to be slower. So just keep in mind that you can kind of lower down the resolution. It doesn't always help. I mean, it will eventually take time to render, but instead of waiting like for 20 minutes to render like 20 frames, it will probably render this in 1 minute. So that saves you a lot of time, and really just to view the motion of things, you really don't have to work in full resolution. So let's see again what we're going to be creating. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let me just close get this comp here. So let me just open a new comp. I'm going to call it main Annie. And let's see what we need here. So we need the hello composition. And we need the present composition and the idea composition. So let's just grab those compositions, and hello, idea, and present. So I'm just going to edit, copy them, or Control C, and paste them. Okay, edit, paste. And the first composition we actually need is the hello composition. And again, I'm just checking that, well, in this particular case, I don't need to be restricted to a specific frame rate as we talked about, so I'm just going to leave that on 24 frames per second. Okay, so let's scale this down. Actually, let's just take all of those comps together and let me set this to 100 and scale them down. So I'm pressing S to get the scale value, and I'm just going to scale it and move it up. Let's just fit this right. The composition here that kind of slipped by. All right. So what we're going to do now is, well, I just want to make sure that they are aligned with each other. So I'm just going to go to the position, and I'm just going to click on that and copy it and paste it to my other positions. So now you can see they align exactly on top of each other. So so then I want to create a new null, okay, and let's just call this comps null, and let me just move that to the center of the character here, or actually let me move the character to the center of this. Great. And now I'm going to just connect to parent all of those comps to the null comp. So now whatever I do with the null comp happens in the to the whatever I do with the null. If I scale it, then I scale the compositions. If I move it, then I move the compositions. Okay. So let me just create a background in here. So let's make that sort of cyan, bluish cyan. Okay, so let's kind of analyze what's going on here. So he's coming from the left, and then he is scaling back, okay, and then we are zooming in again, okay. So all right, let's do that movement from left to right. So I'm just going to I'm going to hide this idea in present comps, and I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to hit P to get the position value, and I'm actually going to scale this up because it was somewhere around here. Okay, something like that. So now once I place the keyframe, I'm just going to kind of take it forward here. Let's say about 1 second, and let's move him to the left. And when I move him to the left, you can see After Effects already automatically creates a keyframe for me. So let's see what's going on here. And you can see it's pretty slow, and we kind of talked about this, so I'm just going to set this to quarter. Okay, and this is what we have. So that's a pretty dull linear movement, but let's continue, and then we can kind of go in and refine the keyframes. Um, Okay, so let's add our text in. So I'll uh, right click and go to new text. Okay, and I'll say meet Cooper. Okay, and after that, yeah, and we have also this arrow, so I have that here. Let me just lower the spacing down and make that white, and I'm just going to scale that. Actually, let's do it like that, and adjust the spacing a bit and align it like this. Okay, so once I have that, let me just grab my my arrow icon in here, and let's also place that in here. Right, and I'm going to tint that, so I'll go to Effects, Tint, and I'm just going to turn that to white. Great. Okay, and I'm also going to take this arrow and text layer, and I'm going to parent this to the null. And let's move that up. Great. So now we have that motion. Let me just remove this adaptive resolution. If you have, you know, if you don't want it to kind of pixelate, I mean, it kind of helps you to work faster when you are working on adaptive resolution. Personally, I just don't like it, and I have a pretty strong computer, so I'm just going to turn that to off. So now you can see I can actually see the actual you know, the not pixelated version here. Okay, so let's do that. And also, I can kind of see that the background in here is a little bit lighter, so let's just do that as well, because it is kind of intense for my liking. So yeah, something like that. Great. So meet Cooper, and then after 4 seconds, it's going back. Okay, so let's go to 4 seconds, and actually let me just kind of see here that when he's raising his arm, so you see I kind of want to create the effect that, you know, this is kind of behind him, so I'm just going to pass that to transfer that back. And right, meet Cooper. Right, so he's waving hello, and about 4 seconds later we can just take that, and let me just hit U in the keyboard to get my position, and I'll hold shift and press S, and that will add my scale value. Okay, so I'm just going to add a keyframe in here and go another second forward, and then I'm just going to scale it down and move it up. I forgot to put a keyframe here in position, but don't worry about it. So somewhere in here, Great. And now, because I forgot to put the keyframe here, so I'm just going to to copy and paste the last keyframe in here, and then it's not going to move, okay, anywhere until we get to 4 seconds. So then we have another text. Right? So let's just write that. So I'll just duplicate this text and move it over here, make it a little bit bigger, and say use here to help you. And I think I broke that into two separate text layer. So I'm just going to duplicate that and write, here's that. And I'm going to make that white as well, and just a little bit bigger, and yeah, let's just make this one a little bit smaller, this one a little bit smaller. So, you know, it's not exactly as I did it, but, you know, it's pretty close. And I can actually see he's kind of smaller in here, so I'm just going to scale him down just a bit more, just to give it a little bit more space in here. Pull that up. Great. And then I'm also going to I also want to connect this to this null, but because I duplicated this text, it's already connected to this null, so I don't have to do that. Okay, so let's go forward, and then after about 10 seconds later, we're going to move in closer. So now you can see that, you know, let me just unhide this composition and this composition. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it after the hello composition. So what's nice about this, you can see that those compositions return to a natural pose in here, and they actually connect. So if you can kind of see that, you know, so if I'm standing on this comp and then I'm moving to the next comp, you see they have the exact same position, so they will basically connect together. So you can actually connect, and let me just show you this. You can actually connect one composition to another, okay, to create a continued animation, but there are some compositions that you can't actually do that. Okay, so the comps you can't connect one to one another is the leaning, okay, the thumbs up, and the clapping, okay? So those won't be continuous to the other comps, okay? Only those comps are continuous to each other. So, let's see what we got here so far, and then I just want to take this idea composition and kind of put it in here after the present composition. And I'm actually going to just go to the end of this composition here, and I'm going to hit N on my keyboard, okay, to shorten the work area. and I'm going to right click on this bar, and I'm going to say trim comp to work area. Okay, just so we'll have, we won't have such a long composition to work with. It's easier. Okay, so let's see what we got here so far. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, and then we have to scale this back in. Okay, right about here. So let's go again to the comp here. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the scale keyframes, go to edit, copy, and edit paste. And now what I can do, because I copied those keyframes from, it started big and went to small, I need to switch those keyframes. I need to switch their direction. So I'll just grab those, right click on them, keyframe assistant, and time reverse keyframes. Okay, and that will reverse the direction of the keyframe. So now it's going from small to big. So let's add another keyframe here to the position, because we need to kind of lower this down here. And you can either do this from this null here. Okay, you can grab null and you can pull it down, or you can go from the values here and just pull it down. And by the way, you see that when I kind of rendered, if you're working with After Effects CC, when you're actually rendering a video, okay, and all of those comps basically contain videos, so you see it took me, quite a while to render this. Not so much time, but it took me a while. But right now, when I'm kind of changing this and and I added like a new scaling here. But right now, when I'm trying to render this again, you can see how fast that's going. That's because After Effects is caching in those movies, and he knows how to kind of pull them back in, without you having to re-render them from scratch. So, for those of you who are concerned with speed, just know that, you have to kind of preview this once, and then, it really depends. Like, if you're adding new layers, it has some rules to it. It doesn't really work all of the time. Like, if I went inside of this composition and change the colors like I explained, it will probably render this again. But you can see, like, I can change stuff in here. I can change, like, the position of the keyframes and all, and then it's just render this in seconds, because it already cached in the movies to your computer, okay, to whatever drive you set the cache to go in, okay. So for those of you who don't know, you have something that's called here. So that's basically taking things like movies and stuff like that, and just caching that in to the folder that you set up, and basically it's just pulling them out the cache from there, and it's just rendering the whole thing just faster. Okay, so great. Now we kind of established the basics for this, but now I want to make I'm not going to even address the text at this moment, but I am going to add. Okay, I am going to add the light bulb in here. Okay, and I'm going to go to the effects and tintas as well, but this time I'm going to actually make that yellow, and I'm going to move that to I'm going to actually pre-comp this so I can hit Control Shift and C, okay, and that will open the pre-composition window. And I want to move all the attributes into the new composition, and I'll just call this Bob. Okay, and I'll move it here. You can move this manually, or either you can hit the left or right bracket keys, and it will actually just snap the beginning or end of the composition to your time indicator in here. Okay, so again, I kind of want to scale this down and connect this to the null. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this text, or rather duplicate this text, move it up, and let's see, it says your idea, so let's just type it in. So your, that's in blue, and idea in white. And let's move that into place. So, sorry, it's backwards. So this is the blue one, and this is the white one. Okay. Scale it down, and let me just kind of place that in here. All right, about something like that. And great, so everything here is connected with each other. Excellent. So I'm actually going to take those text layer and also put them behind the comps. It's not mandatory. I just wanted to, you know, kind of slightly be, you know, even if he's kind of touching me here. In here, I didn't actually do that, but you know, just to show connection between things. It's good to kind of, you know, let things kind of, you know, touch each other, and I just put those ticks back. So let me just for a second hide those texts, because now we're going to actually control, or let's say improve the motion in here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take, well, it's starting from left to right, so I'm just going to take this keyframe and I'm going to hit Control F9, okay, or you can right click keyframe animation, keyframe assistant, sorry, and easy in, okay. So Alright, so great. That looks kind of better. It kind of slows in here, and from here as well. So I'm just going to grab those, and I'm not going to hit just Control F9. I'm just going to Control Shift F9, okay, or keyframe assistant easy out, okay, and then I'm going to grab those keyframes and hit Shift F9, okay, and again the same here. So Control Shift F9. It's a good tip um, to actually use keyboard shortcuts as much as you can. It doesn't look like a lot to go to those menus, like to go and right click and go in here and do that. But a couple of seconds here and there, they kind of collect to a couple of minutes, and then it kind of collects to a couple of hours, and then you kind of lost a lot of time. So just by minimizing that and just hitting the keyboard shortcuts, I can kind of save myself some time here and there. So that's always good. Um, so that's fine. Those are the default After Effects keyframes. So, but I kind of want to, make this motion a little bit more. I kind of want him to accelerate more from the left and kind of even more slow down here when it comes in screen. So I'm just going to grab this keyframe again, and I'm going to go to the graph editor, okay, and I'm just going to get closer here. You can press Alt and scroll with your mouse, okay, and that will, with your mouse wheel, and this will kind of zoom in here, or either you can just do it with this zoom in to frame. Um, so this is the keyframe we selected, okay. You can see that this is the keyframe we selected. You see, like this this keyframe, we can see it's not selected because it's just like an outline of a square here, but in here it is selected because you can see it's kind of it's kind of highlighted, and what I want to do here is actually take this handle here, and I'll click on it, and along with hitting shift on my keyboard, I'm just going to pull that to the left. And now you see that number there, the percentage number, which says influence. So essentially I'm just controlling right now the speed, okay, which the animation is happening. So if I pull that forward to the left, okay, if I pull that to 100, so he would really slow in here. So you can see, like, it's starting high. This, you see, it's starting with a fast motion, and then the graph kind of gradually goes down, so it's kind of slowing down. So I don't need that kind of dramatic effect, so I'll just pull it back to around 60. But if you don't like to mess around with the graph editor, what you can also do is you can just right click on the keyframe and go to keyframe velocity, and now you can see that the value that we did in the graph editor lies here. So so I can actually say 60 in here, okay, and it will change in the graph editor. Let me just show you that in here. So I'll go in here and type 70, and what's going on with this handle here. So you see it got longer. So that's basically doing the same thing here. So let's see what we got. Cool. So that's a much smoother motion. I like that. Looks more organic. and then we have to do the same here. So I'm going to actually grab both of those keyframes, and that's why I like to do this from the graph editor, because if you're not going to do this from the graph editor, you just have to select the keyframe position, go to velocity, and then say 60, and then you have to go to the scale and do the same thing. But if you grab both of those keyframes and you go to the graph editor, let me just zoom in here, and I grab this handle and I just pull it, okay, to 60, to about 60. Okay, so I done that for both keyframes. Okay, and then I can select those two keyframes, and I don't have to switch it back and forth to select keyframes. I can just select them from here, and I can just pull that as well to about 60. So let's see what that gives us. So you see that motion? You see how it kind of slows in here, and then it goes faster in the middle, and then kind of slows back in towards the end. Okay, and we can see that in the graph editor. Again, it kind of goes from from 0, and it kind of gradually going up and up and up, and this is the most highest point here. Okay, so it's really speeding up in here. Okay, and then it gradually slows down back again. Okay, and I can really play around with this. I can make this maybe 70, and maybe this one 50. Okay, so we'll get a different effect. So I would recommend, and again, this is kind of a tip for every project that you do. Don't take the default values that the default values for the keys that After Effects gives you. You kind of have to manipulate them in order to create an interesting motion. So that's a good tip for every animation you do. Okay, and then again we're going to do this again over here. So I'll just grab the keyframe. I'll get closer, and again I'm going to kind of pull this, and I'm going to grab that, something like that. Okay, so you see how he kind of snaps in here. The animation really snaps. So that's great. I like that. So let's see what we got. So now you see, because I kind of changed the position in here, it kind of it's kind of going over the cache again and rewriting it to disk. But as soon as it's over, you see this is already loaded. Okay, so the cache is already loaded in here, so now it's going to speed up. Great. Okay, so now for the text layer. So meet Cooper. Okay, so I kind of wanted to open up in an interesting way, so I'm just going to show you some basic animations for text. Okay, so you have a number of ways to do this. You can either go to the effects and presets, okay, and you can go to the animation presets, and you can go to text, and you have a number of pre-made presets here which you can play around with, and you can have the foundation to do some really cool stuff, but you can also do this manually. So I'm actually not going to create this type of effect right now, okay, which is you know, this kind of, you can see this effect when it's kind of jiggling in here. So I'm not going to do this effect right now, but what I am going to do is I'm just going to you know, add those in one by one. So add the letters one by one. So I'll just, you know, I'll go to the I'll just open up the arrow in here, and I'll go to the text section, okay, and I'll go to the animate arrow in here, and I'm going to add the opacity value. So now I got this opacity value, and I can play around with this. So basically, if I, you know, if I kind of take the opacity to 0, now I don't see anything. But if I go to my range selector, okay, you can see that I have start and an offset. So if I'll grab that end, okay, and I'll just pull that to 0, you can see how it's revealing the text, right? And the same with start. I can do this from left to right. Okay, so I'm just going to keyframe the start, go a couple of seconds forward. Maybe I'll even start this from here, because you know it kind of started with the motion. So yeah, about here. And I'm going to move forward just a bit and set a keyframe to 100. So now we got something like this, right? We got something like this, and then we need to kind of add the arrow in here. Kind of need to add the arrow. So let's grab the arrow icon, and in here you can kind of see it's kind of bouncing like this. So let's create this effect. So let's unhide the arrow. Right. So I'm actually going to take my pen behind tool here. I can press Y on my on the keyboard and grab this anchor point, okay, and put it over here. And when I move the anchor point over here, you know, I can actually, if I'll, you can see this, you can see this if I'll rotate the arrow. So if I rotate the arrow, you see how it kind of rotates on this axis here. Okay, so that's the axis for rotation, scale, stuff like that. So I'm just going to move it here. Okay, and you can see it's kind of rotating from here right now, okay, on this axis. But I don't want to add rotation, I want to add scale. So I'm just going to hit S, and go forward a bit, and hit S again. Okay, I'm going to put another keyframe about here. And this keyframe, okay, and this is the initial state of the scale value. But in this keyframe, what I want to do is I want to kind of scale this up, okay, just a bit, not too much. And on the first keyframe, I want to set this to 0. So now what's happening is this. I get this motion when it's kind of going from 0, scaling up, and then just a bit scaling down. So maybe I'll just scale this just a bit more. Okay, and now the motion, again, the motion is pretty boring. Let me just kind of make this faster. So again, I'm going to grab the last keyframe and Shift F9. First keyframe, Control Shift F9. And for this keyframe, I'm actually going to hold Control, the Control key, and click on this keyframe. And you can see that I kind of have this round keyframing here. Okay, so let's go to the graph editor, and now instead of speed, okay, instead of controlling the speed, okay, I want to kind of control the value of this, so I can go to this button here and go to added value graph. Okay, and I'll just kind of pull this. If you don't know, if you never used the graph editor before, I really recommend you kind of, you kind of go and kind of watch some tutorials and see how to manage keyframes in the graph tutorial, because again, what you get from the basic keyframes from After Effects is really basic. And in order to create an interesting animation, you really have to understand how to use the graph editors, how to use the graph editor, and kind of manipulate keyframes in here. Okay, so right now I kind of pull those handles, okay, and the value, and I'll kind of pull that just to make it is in a little bit, and I'll kind of pull the first keyframe just to make it is out a bit, and let's see what we got. Okay, so that's pretty nice. I'm going to just crunch that up a bit. Let's see. Okay, cool. So let's see all of that together. And actually, I want to kind of take this back, so I'm just going to grab the layer and kind of pull it back to around here. So when the 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 arrow will come after the R is shown here. So let's see that. Great. And now when it's kind of pulling back, okay, I kind of wanted to, I kind of wanted to scale down. So it's basically the same treatment that we gave to the arrow, just backward. So we kind of saw how to reverse keyframes before. So I'm just going to grab this again, copy and paste the keyframes, and I'm just going to go to keyframe assistant, time reverse keyframes. Okay, and that did that for the arrow, and then we have to do that for Meet Cooper. And actually in here I kind of divided this to two layers. Okay, so you see how it's scaling one after another, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to go to the text layer, hit S, and grab the scale value and add a keyframe, and do the same thing in here. So I'm just going to add a keyframe, the first keyframe, scale it up a little bit, and then I'll set that to 0. So again, Shift F9, Control Shift F9, and I'll just grab that keyframe and Control click it. Okay, so now it's going, so now they are synced with each other, but I kind of want this, you can see how things are going one after another. So the text kind of, this text comes out first, and this one, and then this one, and then the arrow, right? So I'll just grab those keyframes in here, and I'll just pull them a bit forward here, and then you can see like the text starting first, then the arrow follows, and that's what we want. Great. So then we want to do the same thing here for the he is here to help you present. So what we can actually do is we can go to the text animation we already did for Miss Cooper. So I'm just going to open up the text here, and what I'm going to copy, as you can see I have those keyframes in here, but what I'm actually going to copy is I'm going to copy the animator layer, and I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to paste that. Okay, I want it to kind of start around here, so I'm just going to paste that. So now you see I essentially just duplicated the animation I did. Nothing, nothing complicated. And maybe I want to kind of make this faster. Let's see. No, that's too fast. To help you, okay? It's here to help you, and then when he's kind of pulling arm, okay, I want to kind of reveal the present. So I'm just going to kind of pull that, right? He is here to help you present. Cool. So one more thing I want to do is because those there are we don't see those layers anymore, I want to shorten them. So I'll just hit Alt and right bracket key on my keyboard, and then you can see I kind of cut those layers off like that. So Alt and right bracket key, or either Alt and left bracket key if you want to do this from left to right. So it's always a good idea to kind of keep your layers organized. Okay, so let's move forward here. So we have this one, great. And then when zooming back in here, I just want those text layer to animate to the left. So I'm just going to grab both of them, hit P on my keyboard, and keyframe the position. Move forward a bit, and drag them to the left off screen. And Control Shift F9 again. I don't have to is out those keyframes in here because I wanted to kind of slowly go out, but it doesn't really matter how it comes in because it's going off screen. We're not going to see that motion. So that's a bit fast. So maybe just when it's kind of starting to move. Okay, and then I'm going to grab those keyframes as well and go to the graph editor. Again, choose my speed graph. And if you're not comfortable using the graph editor, you can definitely use the default keyframes. It's really it depends on you. It doesn't affect at all on what's going on in this project. It's just going to give us a more interesting animation. So okay, so let's say about 66. That's fine. Okay. Alright, so now let's unhide the last of the layers here. So that's the bulb and your idea. And again, let's just, because I already paste those, because I already copied and pasted the animation, I'll just paste it again, okay? And then I'll have the effect again here. So when it's starting to kind of move here, I'll just start to reveal it while it's zooming in. Make it a bit shorter because those are shorter words. And your idea, I'm just going to pull the idea here. Okay, and I'll even make it shorter. And the light bulb, I wanted to kind of be synced with the when it's kind of, you know, going to this position, I want the light bulb to kind of pop out. So let me just pull this over here. By the way, if you want to kind of snap a layer to the time indicator, you can do that by, you can see now I'm dragging the layer and nothing is snapping here. But if I'll press shift and kind of move this, you see it kind of snaps. Okay, it kind of snaps to the time indicator. So so again, let's do the same scale animation we did. So I'm not going to copy and paste it from anywhere else because I just want to show you again how to do this. So I'm just going to create a keyframe here, go a little bit forward, create another keyframe, another keyframe here, and I'm going to scale this up a bit. Okay, and actually you see the anchor point is not really allowing here, so I'm just going to hit Y on my keyboard and grab that, so it will be so it will kind of be over here, and then I'm going to kind of scale it up, and on this keyframe I'm going to hit 0, and again Control Shift F9, Shift F9, and Control click. Okay, and then I'm going to go again to the graph editor. I'm going to go to my value graph, and I'm going to just play around with this to kind of get a smoother motion in here. Okay, so that's a bit, we need to kind of pull that back a bit. So I want to kind of start from over here. Yeah, let's see that. Great. So now let's see what we have. So thank you again for buying this template and watching this tutorial. You can do a lot of things with this template just as it is. And just to kind of let you know, we are going to up this template in the future. We're going to add some pretty cool icons and backgrounds, so keep an eye for that. Obviously, when the update comes, you will instantly get an email about that, and you can download the update. Um, So you can really do a lot of cool stuff with this. Maybe you can even take this to a live action footage and kind of incorporate that inside of the footage. You can really do a lot of stuff with this. So thanks a lot for watching this, and have fun working with this template.